Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a best of 5 series, or maybe a little meeting between two pro gamers who are just drinking some tea, maybe a little bit of soju, as we start off in game number 1 of this best of 5 on a map called At Eternity's Edge, where in the upper left, we have the man destroying Terrans left, right, and center. We're looking inside of the main base of Solar, down in the bottom right. Let's see if he is not gonna be as tilted as Clem. We have none other than ByuN. Let's find out what we can expect between these two players. So, they played a series earlier this week as well in the Monday Night Weekly, and Solar absolutely destroyed ByuN. Just across the board, Solar is just winning against every Terran right now. The logical conclusion to jump to immediately is that Zerg is busted, and you may be right. But also, I feel like it's a little bit too early to tell because the patch is still so new. Command Center first here for ByuN, by the way. Deciding to just play the most greedy thing in the world. Supply Depot, no scout. CC on the low ground. Command Center is going to be followed up right now with a barracks inside of the main base. And in the meantime, we're yapping. Do you think you can determine what strategy your opponent is going for by yapping? 5-0 something? I don't know, man, what they're talking about. But if you see your opponent chatting a lot, they're most definitely not going to be microing Zerglings to your side of the map right now, right? Maybe. And they're definitely talking about some sort of score. I don't know. Anyhow, Solar has been going for a variety of builds. He's been sending a lot of roaches early across the map. He's been going for a lot of early game pushes in general with Mutas as well. I really feel like Zerg right now, they have a nice relaxed early game, a nice relaxed mid game. They can kind of just do whatever. Whereas Terrans feel like they have to do a very specific build order, but also one that they haven't yet found out about yet. They're experimenting with a variety of builds, but none of them really seem to work too well. Whereas for Zerg, suddenly the sky is the limit because of the larva generation. For Terran, it feels like you're boxed into a corner, but you don't even really know exactly what corner you're boxed into. Couple Zerglings here will scout out now indeed that it is a CC first. No secondary supply depot up on the high ground yet because of it. No reason for it, of course, because the orbital command here effectively functions like a supply depot itself too. This is when Solar realizes that he has been, well, going up against a very greedy Terran so far, so he decides to outgreed greed with greed. That's how it's done. Apparently, since we have sent the drone so early, look at this, man. We're sending the drone early just so we can continue yapping. At least hatcheries are back up to 300 minerals again, which is nice to see. Third CC as well inside of the main base here for ByuN. That SCV is lucky because it gets to join Nova's fan club for just a moment. Well, it is indeed constructing the command center. That's nice. This is the first time, though, on the new patch that I will be seeing a 3cc opener. I haven't really been able to, catch any Terran doing this build so far because it seems ridiculously risky. So this is the greediest early game I think that you can play right now as a Terran. So it's a command center first, entirely scoutless, skipping the Reaper, double Marine only, straight into Hellions, third command center, and then of course a starport as well. Seriously greedy build here for ByuN, and I guess this will give us at least a look, right, at what now the mid game is going to look like for Terran when they get to trampoline straight towards it. This is the biggest eco you can realistically unlock if your opponent is playing passively as Terran right now. Well, Solar is just droning. Solar is just chilling, of course. So the big difference is that the larva that the hatcheries generate passively, they generate it a little bit quicker, meaning that you can just simply produce stuff earlier on in the game. And larva doesn't really seem to be as much of a bottleneck anymore. So one of the reasons why the Zerg economy oftentimes gets slowed down in the early game is because of the amount of larva available. One of the weird things, I guess, for Zerg right now is that you kind of just keep pumping queens. Sometimes when you are macroing as a Zerg player, the logical thing to do is to spend all of your larva, and then if you have leftover minerals, you make more queens. But right now, I guess we're doing the opposite, where Solar is just queuing up more queens, and then he's spending whatever larva he's got available. But yeah, he's just droning incredibly greedily here. Double tech lab as well inside of the main base for ByuN. Overlord Scout finally arrives, and, well, this is, again, giving Solar all of the info that he needs. He knows of the Nova fan club. He knows of the Triple Command Center. He knows of the Bio mid-game follow-up. Lair inside of the main base. +1 armor coming up here for Solar. I wonder if you still need to go for the single Evo chamber build. Now that the gas is a little bit, cheaper on the +1 carapace, I wonder if you could always go double Evo again. That used to be what Zerg players did all the time. 4 additional barracks. Look at this build order here for ByuN, man. I almost wonder if that chatter here in the early game was ByuN saying, yo, just let me do my build for a little bit and see how it goes. You know, it's the type of game you do in a practice match. What if you don't attack me and I display the absolute greediest build order imaginable? What would happen then? I think Solar is honestly okay, though. His income is still incredibly high. There are a couple cloak benches here. No detection available yet. We do have a lair out. Yeah, he needs to get some mobile detection. The Overseer is coming in. Okay. Bit of damage being done. In the meantime, though, here's one of Solar's very well-known counterattacks. Sending the Zergling on the offense. Or the Zerglings, rather, on the offense. And he does snipe a couple of units here and there. Certainly, though, a nice start here for ByuN. But he only ended up killing a single worker. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, 2 queens, 5 Zerglings, and a drone. Quick armor you hear already for ByuN, so you can go straight into 2-2. My god, they just keep pausing. This is gonna be the messiest game on the new patch so far, man. Multiple pauses, constant yapping. Neither player really committing to anything early aggression. Just full macro instead. But it's still gonna be giving us a nice little update, right? Like, what is technically, theoretically possible for both Zerg and Terran when both players play greedy? Double armory. Wait a second, is that a mistake? Double armory here, second factory out front. Normally we'd see a 4th command center. Indeed, there it is. That's gotta be a mistake. There's no way he means to be upgrading mech, right? Or that he's gonna be switching an army composition on over towards Terran mech. I'd be very surprised. Okay, Baneling speed is gonna be done soon, though. Creep spread here for Solar is looking monstrous already. And this doesn't really look so much like a new patch type of game, right? We're only 8 minutes in. Both players have macroed their way up to a good enough economy to effectively continue playing the rest of the game with. Hydra Den right now, I guess we're gonna maybe transition to Lurkers, maybe into indeed a Hive together with Ultras. A couple good options available for Solar now. Here we go. Lings want to get the wraparound. Banelings want to be crashing into it. You can use that new load command onto the medevac zone to save all of the units here available for the Terran. Plenty of stuff available, though, for Solar to just counterattack all of this with. And while we do get some extreme value here, as the units at Eternity's Edge were on the low ground there, below the watchtower. It'll work out just fine there for ByuN in the end. We've got Drilling Claws on the back of this. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 inside of the main base. And I'm guessing the next goal is probably to maybe go into Ghosts. Early on with the new PTR, we saw a lot of debate when it comes to the Ghost. The Ghost has been very, very busted, it seems, but it seems like ever since the new patch went live, none of the games have really lasted long enough. Or I guess none of the games that I've seen, at the very least, have allowed Terran to even transition into a late game. They usually seem to either be dead already or you know, they've been trying to get to that point. But I guess now, at the very least, it is a consideration for ByuN to make. Is it really that good, though? That's my question. Looks like the push up north did get cleaned up. Will ByuN even make the switch? ByuN's been known to stick around on just the Marine mid-game for a long time. A couple of lock-ons over here with the Widow Mines, not bad. Solar not committing to a counter-attack this time around. I think we've had a lot of the Terran units indeed pretending that there was going to be, or predicting that there was going to be a counter-attack. Lurker Dendo now for Solar. He did go up to the Hive, but mostly just for Viper production, it seems. Maybe we can squeeze out Adrenal Glands. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, this is a nice defensive setup right here for the Terran. Difficult to break. Yep, and plenty of Marines available as well. Okay. This may actually be the biggest macro game on the new patch between two high-level players so far. At least in this matchup. Factory number 3. No Ghost Academy. Instead, he decides to go into a third factory. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're going Ghosts. Maybe he wants to go Liberators eventually. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the late game, the Ghost is a little bit iffy. So the main thing, right, is that the Ghost is 3 supply now. 3 supply rather than 2. It used to be 3 for a while. Then it got back down to 2. Now it's back up to 3. Every balanced patch over the last couple of years, I think at the very least the last 5 or so, have all had some sort of Ghost changes. And now we're back to, look at this, man, 5 CCs. All right. Yeah, now we're back up to 3 supply on the Ghost and 100 HP and all the rest of it. It's a bit of a funky unit. Very slow reaction here from ByuN. No, come on. Okay. All right. Yeah, now we boost it. Sure. ByuN's maxed. He's making command centers, so his family lineage can still benefit from it, you know? ByuN's making command centers, so his grandchildren can go to college. You love to see it. But will we make Ghosts? Will we make Liberators? So far, I guess not. Solar's cruising, though. Even though this has been... I've been talking a lot about ByuN so far. Solar is extremely comfortable at this point. I guess he hasn't yet noticed the second gas over here on that newly made base. It is a little bit, yeah, it's hanging there. It doesn't really seem to be too obvious, but... I wouldn't mind seeing him take it because his unit composition is a very gas-heavy one. So we're going into Adrenal Glands, we're getting the Hydra upgrades, Nidus Worm indeed, we're gonna go Lurkers. Solar is spending all of his gas onto proper late-game upgrades now. And soon we're gonna be seeing Nidus Worms and Lurkers all over the battlefield. It's time for ByuN to prepare for Nidus Whack-A-Mole. Planetary Fortress over here will go down. ByuN's got 800 minerals in the bank, dude. Almost anyways. Time to make 2 more CCs. Wait, did he actually? No, those were already building. That'd be funny, though. He needs to, I guess, spend some of the money to re-max out yet again. Okay, Nidus Worm is done. We haven't really bothered, though, making a proper switch on over to Lurkers, right? It's something that Solar has been preparing for a while, but he doesn't want to spoil the surprise too early. This is like getting your Christmas shopping done in November. You kind of want to tell them that you've been, well, saving up to buy them some Lurkers. But Solar, you know, he wants to keep it a surprise for now. Nice little dash over there doing nothing. But we do see the Zerglings trying to crash through. Banelings do ultimately run into a bunch of Widow Mines, though. Hydras will have to back up. More and more Zerglings on the defense as well. Ghost Academy. Okay, so how good is the Ghost? How good is the Ghost in the new Terran late game? I think it's probably a little overhated. A lot of people were complaining about it on the internet. But I really don't think it's going to be as good in the late game as people are making it out to be. Maybe I'm wrong, though. We're still not making Lurkers. Like, is the plan to make like 30 of them all in once? Like, is that what we're going to try and do? Spire coming up instead. There's not really an army over here that would like necessarily dissuade Solar from not building Lurkers. Yeah, he's got a couple over here on the right. A couple of 3. Blinding Cloud up to the siege tanks there, and a lot of the Terran army too. Ugh, this is an absolute meat grinder though. Zerg is trying to see if they can break it open. Planetary does not get repaired in time. In the meantime though, the Lurkers are also putting in some work. That fight went way better for Solar than I think it was originally intended to be. No repair onto the CC though. Worked out kind of nicely there for the Zerg in the end. Oversight from ByuN, who's now forced to deal as well with these units. He starts up 4 Ghosts. 4 Ghosts and 2 factories. So we're, I think, making the transition over to Ghost Mech. I haven't seen Ghost Mech in a while. It used to be very popular a few years ago. I've always been a fan of this unit composition because of the way that it flows, right? Like, you start off with Marine Marauder Medevac, then you transition into Ghosts, and then eventually you get rid of the Marines and the Marauders, and you add on additional factory units instead. I don't know if it's exactly the right call, though, to make that many command centers as well at the same time, because it's so expensive for Terran to make this swap. So you end up with a far stronger army in the late game. But you kind of have to choose. Do I want a really strong army, or do I want a really strong economy? ByuN's now trying to do both. Solar, in the meantime, still cruising. I feel like this is a much easier game to play so far for Solar than it is for ByuN. The thing is, ByuN is the one cutting all the corners, right? Like, ByuN is the one that's been extremely greedy all game long. And he's still not really able to get his feet under him very well. Building armor. High-sec auto-tracking, probably also something we should get. Yeah, Solar is dominating new patch so far, man. This looks just like another one of those games where he is just... Look at the mini-map right now. Like, he is just cruising. He can do whatever he likes. He could even have, like, an Ultra Cavern ready to go, or a Greater Spire here. Like, he can do whatever he likes. He's got lurker upgrades before he made lurkers. He made a Nidus Worm, but it wasn't really a very urgent one. He's getting Spire upgrades before making a flying unit. I guess Vipers count, but they don't have an auto attack that benefits from that. Another command center over here. Looks like it is going to bite the dust, although this time around the repair does happen. Yep, the CC will live for now. Don't start sleeping on the job now, though, Solar. Still a world-class Terran you're playing against, and ByuN is very dangerous when it comes to counterattacks. A lot of mules just chilling. Yeah, this kind of looks to me like a... Okay, so this is what we used to do on the previous patch. Let's give it a shot in the new patch type of game. He's kind of given up, by the way, on the Ghost transition. Oh. Like, he's still making some of them, and same for the siege tanks, but he's got four factories right now, but he's not really able to produce that much out of them. Maybe we're really just getting it for pure tank production. Huh. 20 SCVs have died. Hatchery in the far bottom left, also in some trouble. Hydra's dash on over in this direction yet again, though. Solar can keep doing this for a while longer, although he doesn't have a huge bank. He decides to round up the total to 90 workers at this point in time. Okay, this is important, though. Solar needs to keep this base up and running, preferably. ByuN can quite easily shut it down, and that's exactly what he does right now with the Marines and the Marauders. They have become neighbors on the right side of the map, as Solar is taking that base over here in the upper right. Greater Spire coming up. Yeah, if it does indeed draw out for very long, you could go into Broodlord Infestor here for Zerg. Keep in mind that Infestors are quite a bit better now. Microbial Shroud is something that needs to be considered for a Terran. Personal Cloaking for the Ghosts coming up. So these Ghosts, right? Like, there's 9 of them available right now. It means that there's 9 additional supply soaked up by those Ghosts. That's a lot. You have to lose, I guess, 9 SCVs or something for your army to be the same. It's significant enough. Ooh, the new EMP animation is beautiful. It's gonna get rid of the 1 Viper's energy, fair enough. And I guess all of the Overseers as well. 21 additional SCVs die, though. ByuN, in the meantime, trying to do a little bit of creep clearing over here on the right side of the map. This is good, though. He is getting a lot of damage done. Base on the right side of the map, undetected. Would really like to see ByuN maybe send some hit squads around the map to try and not just fight the full frontal engagements, but also to get rid of some of those outer bases of the Zerg. But I guess because he's got so much supply caught up in Ghosts, he can't. So he's actually reducing his worker count, though. Yeah, we've gone down to only 41 SCVs. He's got orbital commands for days. I think the plan is probably to mine with mules instead. Here we go again. Solar sending it. Oh, man. Reducing the worker count of the Terran some more. Yeah, this is too low now. ByuN has to start rebuilding some again. Here's the medevac drop trying to go in, but the Queens through the speed up circle actually intercept the medevac drop. Lovely play here by Solar. Yeah, Solar is just destroying everybody on the new patch. Like, do you consider Solar to be a very creative player? Like somebody that should really shine at the beginning of a new patch? In my mind, Solar is such a conventional macro player that I really didn't think he was going to be the one leading the charge for Zerg on the new patch so far, but Solar has been absolutely killing it. Yeah, just playing the big macro games, the big all-ins. The man doesn't really seem to have a weakness at this point in time in a matchup. Siege tank count is high, though. How do we solve it? With Brute Lords? Nah, we make more Zerglings. 16 tanks, by the way, here, soon for ByuN. And there's the Infestors coming up. Blinding Cloud again on a couple of the tanks. Quite a few of the tanks now. Terran army is getting surrounded from multiple angles as ByuN was trying to secure those minerals that the Zerg was previously mining. Lings all over the place. 557 average actions per minute here by Solar throughout this game. Kills the command center here too. Man, Solar is an absolute monster in this game. Ay, ay, ay. This was the greediest start Terran could have ever had. And Solar is just destroying him. It's not even really particularly close. ByuN is effectively trying to go for like this Death Bolt type of army, but Solar just keeps knocking it down. Silly little auto attack of the Infestor. Okay, he needs to be careful that he's not throwing away a little too much. Look at the resources lost here. Way more losses on the side of the Zerg. At some point, you have to decide to make the swap on over to Brute Lord Infestor. But at this point, I think the Terran's eco has already taken such a big hit. There's very little mining going on. But here we go. ByuN has found a bit of an opportunity. There's about 100 Zerglings, though. Fresh Zerglings just about to hit the battlefield. They're fully upgraded. They've brought snacks. They're ready to fight. We gotta bring snacks. We've, as a matter of fact, seen so many Zerglings die that my interface is bugging out. Whoever made this interface did not expect that we would get to 4 digits worth of dead Zerglings in some games. Bit of an oversight, really. How could they not have predicted the big macro games of 2026? Burrow here as well. Brute Lords coming up. The Zerglings now buying time for the Brute Lords to be able to fly. And ByuN is not prepared to be fighting Brute Lords at all, is he? Yeah, we've got 10 Ghosts, I guess. 10 Ghosts versus 10 Brute Lords. Who wins? Pew, 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 pew. Keep in mind that the snipe ability is weaker now. It's really the base attack damage of a Ghost that's a bit stronger. Oh, jeez. I thought for a second it was like a battlecruiser warpin. It looked like a battlecruiser warpin for the corner of my eye. But now it's just the image of Amon hanging out in the corner of the map. Fair enough. GG. Wow. Yeah, Solar just destroyed ByuN. Okay. That takes us to Rainfall. A map where the Rainfall has actually been nerfed. During the Team Liquid map contest, this map had way heavier Rainfall. But no more. It's more of like a drizzle, really. Like in the Netherlands, this is just another day. Barely worth noting. Anyhow, what is worth noting is that ByuN really didn't get anything proper going for himself in the previous game. So that was the greediest opener you could play as a Terran. And it's like he never really landed on his feet, right? Like he was basically playing a defensive game from start to finish. Like, did he ever move out onto the map? I'm trying to remember. Did he ever go for an attack? I guess in the early game he had a couple of units going around, but not really. Very few. We had that one attempted medevac drop that was intercepted by the queens. Now, don't sleep on Solar. Solar really is a bit of a beast. It's interesting, like the more creative players, like for example the heroes of this world, right? They seem to be struggling quite a bit on this new patch so far. Hero usually the one who really, thrives when the games become chaotic. Not really able to find his groove just yet. May just be a matter of time. Obviously, Protoss, though, has gone through a very significant set of overhauls. But it does seem that the top-tier Terrans are struggling against the top-tier Zergs so far. Again, the sample size of games that I've actually seen has been very limited. It's really just not that many games. But I do wonder how somebody like Serral is going to be performing on a patch like this. I think the first time we'll probably see Serral on this patch, assuming the tournament is going to be taking place on this particular patch. There's some events right now that are considering running the previous balance patch instead, which I actually think is a mistake. But anyways, that's a discussion for another time. I would imagine it's probably Home Story Cup. It's going to be early July, so pretty soon. Serral already has been looking near untouchable in a lot of games. This does feel like a straight Serral buff, though. Like, it plays exactly into the playstyle that Serral really likes. And before we get a repeat of, like, 2018, which was the year where Serral really didn't lose anything. That was also the year where the Zerg nerfs properly began. For a couple years there, Zerg just got nerf after nerf after nerf, because Serral kept winning everything. Every time they kept nerfing Zerg, people were like, okay, this is too much now, man. There's no way he can still keep doing it. And then he kept doing it. It's actually kind of busted. Like, if you were to revert all of the changes they have made to Zerg between now and 2018, Zerg was so much more powerful. Queens were able to transfuse off creep, for example. Queens were 150 minerals. Queens had an additional anti-air range. Like, just those changes alone right now, if you were to reintroduce it, would absolutely break the game. Zergs would never stop going for Queen all-ins. They would keep marching the ladies across the map. But there were so many other little things as well that all got nerfed because of Serral. Maybe not exclusively because of Serral, but a lot of little things that would have certainly added up to make Zerg far better than it is right now, and Zerg does appear to be a little bit busted. Alright, Stimpack opener here for ByuN. Yet again, a triple CC build. ByuN just pretending like it's the old patch all over again. Not doing what, for example, Clem has been cooking up, right? Where Clem's been going into a much later third CC, prioritizing additional early game unit production instead. Keep in mind that they did also nerf the amount of supply a command center actually grants you. So not only is it more risky to go for early command centers because of the 8-worker start, it's just a bigger investment, relatively speaking. The command centers, the nexus, and then also the hatcheries themselves no longer provide as much supply as they used to, further weakening it. Anyways, we've got a Hellion run-by attempted over here. This is nice for ByuN. Not a whole lot of units available at this point in time for Solar. Okay. A little bit of panic, but really only a single drone. Overlord Scout moves in. About 5 minutes, apparently, on the clock is what Solar is aiming for right now. He's seen the second barracks here, which is quite nice for him to note. It'll give him all of the info that he really needs. You could go for a roach push if you want to, but probably best to not go for it. Yeah, and this time around, Solar does go double Evo Chamber. So double Evo Chamber with a quicker second gas. So I would imagine this is going to be +1/+1 into a lair and then a Baneling Nest. That's a pretty old school approach. It's what we used to see more. I guess with the armor upgrade now being a little bit cheaper, maybe it's something that could be available yet again to Zergs. There we go. Yeah, you can actually go into a lair pretty easily now, too. That's crazy, man. Just a little bit of a gas reduction there on the armor upgrade is a big deal. There's the lair. Baneling Nest. Which will allow him a pretty quick baneling speed as well. Haven't seen Solar go for mutas here yet. In the last game, of course, he went very heavy into the Hydraling Bane, but he's been doing a lot of roach pushes. He's been doing a lot of muta play. He's been doing some Hydraling Bane lurker type of approaches too. Solar really seems to have the entire arsenal of Zerg available to him. Look at the beautiful reflection. Have you ever seen an Overlord from the bottom? Yo, stop blocking it. I was trying to look at Otto's butthole. No, I was... Huh. Maybe this is too much, man. Too spicy. Second factory in the meantime over at the third. Armory in the back. That's going to just be for 2-2. ByuN not really deviating from plan compared to the previous game. Baneling speed not yet done. This is, by the way, a double expo here for Solar. This really feels like an old school game to me, man. So look, he's getting a fourth base, and then I guess this as like a macro hatch. That used to be what Zerg players did a long time ago. Originally, these hatcheries were built inside of the main base, but then they realized, I may as well build it on location. And just kind of pretend that it's a macro hatch instead. Hydra Den now. So no mutas. Solar happy to play the big macro game yet again. The tentacle rocks will be destroyed. Except for that one, apparently. You're gonna have to bleed out on your own, buddy. Kinda mean. Oh, well. Matter of fact, drop on the left side of the map. 2-2 has been fired up by ByuN. Oh. Screw that particular creep tumor in particular. Misfire there from the queens. But the matter of fact is a bit overly ambitious. And sadly, these lads are not going to be going home. No, they got swarmed. What about the push at the front? Looks like the Widow Mines are getting some good detonations, but that secondary one also dealt some friendly fire. Quick clicking though from ByuN gets rid of one of the Banes. But I don't believe that there's enough Marines left over to kill this hatchery now in the middle. Nope, we're going to have to give up on this particular push too. Only 4 Marines will make it home. Okay. So, ByuN really not deviating very much from the plan in this game whatsoever, right? Like, we have some different timings on some of the structures, but the overall game plan is pretty much identical. He does have a really nice 2-2 timing attack coming up, but my concern with that one is that there's already so much creep available. Baneling speed has been long done already. I think Solar can hold that quite nicely. Especially the creep threat in the middle needs to exceed a little bit further forward, though. Solar, we gotta put the tumors down right over here. What is Solar up to? This is his point of view right here. Okay, there we go. He's just chilling. This is a Zerg player chilling, by the way, in case you're wondering. Maybe it looks a little bit frantic, but he is... This is on reels. This is a Terran's point of view right here. Wow. Wait a second. Sorry. Did I miss... Did I miss anything important? I guess he lost the medevac drop on the other side of the map. And he just... Oh, man. Beautiful point of view. Yeah, so he accidentally YOLO'd with these medevacs through the map. And then I guess he lost a bunch of stuff over here in the middle, too. Already, the early game wasn't going too smoothly. So the Terran's point of view, I guess, was him hitting the GG on the keyboard. Okay. Ooh, we find ourselves on Old Sun Temple. But you know the reason why I oohed? Jam it, boys. I'm not even gonna say anything anymore, okay? Let's just listen to the beautiful music that is the original Terran. absolute banger. That you play this at my funeral, at my wedding. Oh no, I'm already... at my bar mitzvah. No, I'm at my... Anyways, we should be playing this song more is what I'm trying to get at. Do I have to tell my wife? My current wife? No, my... Do I have to tell my current wife about... Don't call your wife current wife, guys. I think it's a really funny joke, but she did not appreciate it. I highly recommend you do make the joke, though. It's a great joke. If you see the opportunity arise, proceed at your own risk. All right. Pool first right here for Solar. So, by the way, one of the big changes with this new patch, right, and the reason why we have this beautiful tune playing in the background, is... well, the extra music tracks that have been enabled. So, not only do we have all of the tracks from, for example, the Nova Covert Ops added to the pool, we also have the original Brood War tunes added to the multiplayer games too, which is sick. Supposedly that already was available, but I think it bugged out many years ago. Now it's been fixed. So even now during these games, all the music I've always listened to has always been the official StarCraft music in these casts. But yeah, it's nice to have more of them available. Okay. All memes aside, though, all jokes aside, Terrans seem to be struggling a little bit. Now, the thing is, in these last two games, sure, some of the new balance changes are impactful, but are they really that impactful? Like, did anything really allow Solar, like, did any of the big changes from the new patch really allow Solar to get that far ahead twice in a row? I'm trying to think. Is it really just the larva generation that is allowing him, like, a kickstart in the economy? That could really be it, right? Like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, so it's like a 15% larva generation increase. Not as impactful when the queens are actually out, because obviously you get injects and all the rest of it, but it's allowing Zerg to trampoline that early game economy. I've heard somebody describe it that it kind of feels like you're starting with 8 workers and they're starting with 10, even though they aren't really. But it's that, like, early game... It's that early game difference that allows Zerg to, I guess, just sort of jump ahead. That could very well be what just happened in those first 2 games. Because ByuN really, he wasn't playing a poor game as far as I could tell. A couple slip-ups here and there, but, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. That just happens in a game with as many moving pieces as StarCraft 2, but Solar just seemed to be able to grab the reins and run away with it. It is interesting, right? After Zerg has been, yeah, reasonably underrepresented, I would say. Especially on the ladder. Like, very few people actually actively play Zerg above, like, Master League or so. We don't really see that many of them. And obviously in tournaments as well, Zergs haven't been playing as well lately. It's been a lot of spotlights on Protoss in particular. Now it seems like it's a good time to switch to Zerg. But for how long? That's always the question. How many tournaments does Serral have to win this time around before some of it gets reverted? Lair coming up right now inside of the main base for Solar. 2-base lair, that is. Now with the full minerals saturated over here on the low ground, we're adding 2 more gases inside of the natural. No Evo chambers, no Baneling Nest, no nothing. This is looking like a straight Spire. Risky build here for Solar, but you know what? I can't blame him. He's 2-0 ahead in the match. Right now is the time to gamble, and it seems like we're gambling with a Spire. Yeah, there it is. It's the only thing that really makes sense. So, no Roach Warren, no upgrades for Zerglings, other than Metabolic Boost, no Baneling Nest. Solar is going to be making a lot of mutas all in one go, and it all comes down to how well ByuN can defend against it. At this point, ByuN doesn't know, so this is a very significant corner that Solar is cutting. Yeah, we do go Baneling Nest as well, because I guess he felt a little bit iffy. We get Evo Chambers too, but I would imagine I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine we make the initial influx of mutas first before we start anything inside of those two structures. Because it just cuts into your initial muta production, and we've already made the sacrifice now. This could be one of those awkward games, though, because this really is a pretty old... What? Okay. Okay. Right. Let's just pretend that that didn't happen. What was it saying? Right. This is an old school build right here for Solar. Eight mutas coming up. Now we go Carapace, and I would imagine the next gas is going to go onto the Baneling Nest upgrade as well. Keep in mind that this upgrade was made cheaper as well, by the way. A couple patches ago. Yeah, all of this has become cheaper. The Spire has become cheaper, the +1 armor has become cheaper, the Baneling speed upgrade has become cheaper too. One at a time didn't really seem to be too impactful for muta openers, but right now they're back on the menu. If you're a Mutalisk enjoyer, this would be the patch for you. Flap your little wings. Okay, how prepared is Terran? Well, we've got a missile turret. Okay, well. Didn't want to hype it up too much because sometimes it gets a bit awkward, just like this. Even though Solar's not going to be able to fly into a mineral line, though, and immediately decimate ByuN's economy, this is still 100% now map control in favor of the Zerg. Very difficult for ByuN to actually make a decision. Okay, he decides to go for a bit of a move out, but you're always at the risk of the muta counterattack. And mutas are so fast that they can deal damage to your base and be home in time for dinner too. Baneling speed will be done, plenty of creep spread available. +1 armor is still trailing behind a little bit. Against 1/1 Terran, it is something important to note. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it if ByuN decided to go home, though, right now. Yeah, just scan, get rid of the creep, and then go back home. I think it's the intelligent choice. Because you're trying to move up that high ground. Look at the little spotter circling over here. You try to move up to that high ground, you're going to get overwhelmed. But this is now going to allow that muta clump to keep growing, right? We haven't seen a single muta die yet. Once you get up to like 20, maybe 30 mutas, missile turrets are no longer going to keep you safe. Even Marines are not really going to keep you safe. A couple random Widow Mines can work out quite nicely, but then you're hoping and crossing your fingers that it's going to work out in your favor. Kind of sketchy. Solar's economy, though, is also not that big on the back of this, right? So he's been very invested into this 2-base opener. He's just now finished 3-base eco. He started making workers for his 4th now, but this has been a bit lackluster for Solar across the board. Despite the fact that he's been playing this as greedily as I think he could have reasonably done it, so... Big attack potential here for ByuN when 2-2 finishes especially, but he hit a supply block. Oof. Oof. At least he's got a command center finishing in a moment, but this is an uncharacteristic mistake. Yeah, they don't provide that much supply anymore, so he's gonna hit another supply block immediately, making 4 depots at once. I feel like his big opportunity is a 2-2 push. It's now gonna hit with less units, though, because of the supply block, which is a little risky. Mutas have decided to go all the way around. Hatchery at the bottom will at the very least be denied. That's a good play there from ByuN. He's also got a secondary army on the right side. This map is cool, by the way, the Old Sun Temple. Very big. Anyways, here we go. Deep onto creep is where ByuN is headed. Widow Mines, man. Widow Mines, man. Oi, 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 oi. Get out of there. Lucky here for the Terran. Those mutas did not make a beeline straight for those Medivacs on the right side because they would have died. Instead, they've decided to go for the smaller target. The guaranteed kill. Could have been a real big problem, though, for ByuN. Now 2-2 finishes, by the way. Awkward timing. He's going to test it again. I love the addition of the Thor. In the meantime, 4th command center being set up on the left side of the map. Hive in the meantime inside of the main base too, so Ultras could be on the horizon eventually. Yeah, I think this is Solar also experimenting with the new patch a little bit, right? This feels like the most lackluster game in this series so far. At least for Zerg. Big risk, very little reward. Just kind of making the mid-game more complex here. Are we gonna counter-attack right now? Oh, really? Okay, let's see. The Zerglings do have a way to go up here, unless Brenda decides to body block her. Okay, hatchery over here dies yet again. Quadruple missile turret, quintuple missile turret coming up over here. But we have more than 20 Mutalisks. Ooh, careful. We actually just decide to go after the Marines themselves, simultaneously creating a bit of a distraction here as well, though, for the fight down south. Quite a big investment there from the Zerg. Okay, decides to fly away again. More and more Banelings coming up. While you're fighting with the Mutas, as we do get a nice Widowmine hit, while you're fighting with the Mutas, though, you can't really also stim onto the creep as ByuN. Believe it or not, professional gamers are human, and they only have 2 hands and 1 monitor. Bit difficult to micro everything all at the same time. Ultralists coming up, though. They're still a whiles away, but once they are out, it's going to be very difficult here for ByuN to keep playing this particular unit composition. He doesn't know it, but this is an important moment for him to actually keep pushing. The Thor is going to get the Knight for sure. Mutas, in the meantime, are coming back home, I'm sure. Yep, they've cleaned up the push at the bottom. Reinforcing Terran units are running through the middle of the map. The creep strat here of the Zerg is a bit lackluster compared to the previous games, but I think that's just because the Old Sun Temple is so big, and ByuN's been doing a good job denying all of it. 3-3 right now. Finishing pretty soon here for ByuN. Not a good fight for Terran. He's not simultaneously attacking either on the right side of the map. Plenty of Lings and Banes available to keep this Terran army at bay. Medevacs over here die. A couple of changelings, but they're not really an issue for Solar. One Ultra. Chitinous plating. +3 armor. Terran's not prepared for a Ultralist transition. You really want to be getting at least more Marauders out. Preferably, though, something like Ghosts. Maybe Liberators. A couple Widowmines do burrow on top of the ramp. Ooh. Man, oh man. There is a medevac drop happening on the right side, but the Mutas are going to try and clean that up. Base all the way up top, though. Yeah. Has been... It's been invisible for the Zerg so far. This medevac drop is not going to continue much longer. But at this point, Solar does not know of the sneaky 5th base that ByuN is indeed built up right over here. ByuN really needs to get rid of the rocks or maybe the mineral fields or something along those lines. But now the Ultras are here. Now, how do you counter Ultras on the new patches, Terran? What's the best play? Do you go Ghosts? I'm not sure. I think Ghosts are probably too supply heavy. Suddenly the choir went crazy. Da, 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 da. 3 supply for the Ghost, man. I think it's too much in the late game. I don't like it. I think it's too bad. Now the Ultras can just start chomping their way to the victory. I mean, these are not fully upgraded yet, and they're going up against +3 attacks on those Marines and Marauders. So those Ultras, okay, maybe they should have chilled at home for a little bit longer. This upgrade being the absolute key. Do you go Liberators instead? Don't know if you can really play Liberators, though, in a situation like this when there's already 15 Mutas out, and obviously the Mutas have been upgraded, so if Zerg were to respond with Corruptors, you'd be fighting, well, soon to be 2-2 Corruptors. Liberators will have a really difficult time against it. So, the snipe ability of the Ghost is now 75 energy, up from 50. Ghosts have a maximum amount of energy of 200, meaning that at max energy, previously they could cast the spell 4 times, now they can cast it twice. That bundled together with a 3 supply cost? I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't think it's really that good of a unit to be going for in the late game. Maybe scary in the mid game, but right now feels a little bit too late. I think the 3 supply is too much. It should be 2 supply, in my opinion. Muta's in the meantime picking up loads of reinforcements. Ultra still, though, just running to their deaths over here. Marines and Marauders seem to be doing the job for now. Widowmine connection is good. Yeah, Solar may be a little bit over-eager. Okay. Got ourselves the engineering bay. Researching the armor upgrade. Now, ByuN is still at 5 base eco now. That's pretty good. Solar still has a lot of control on the battlefield. Man, these Mutas. They started off not really doing much, but they've really become quite a thorn in ByuN's side. The group, at the very least, has probably been responsible for pretty much all these medevac kills here. Drops have no longer been flying around the map ever since the Mutas are out. Obviously, that is ByuN's signature play. He's a big fan of the Muta drops, or like the medevac drops rather, but the Mutas have at the very least prevented that from working out. So the very quick Mutas, maybe not necessary, but the follow-up of Mutas is still really strong. 5 command centers on the production tab. +3 air, +3 flyer coming up for Solar 2. Gonna get to maxed out Muta territory. These Ultralists have full armor upgrade, and they actually kind of melt. Transfusion from the Queen is nice. Yeah, ByuN's playing a good game here. Hatchery has to be given up on. Nice push here from the Terran yet again. So many missile turrets on this base. So many freaking missile turrets left, right, and center. How many are there out at this point in time? 12. All right. Yep. It's keeping this base up and running. Another hatchery. Bites the dust. Okay. And this is forcing Solar to make a decision. He knows the trades for Terran have been a little bit eh. He knows he's got a large army. Can he push the issue right now? I mean, with this many Banelings added into the mix, I believe that Solar is going to try. He's got lots of reinforcements heading across the map. Only 2 Ultras now, by the way. Not really making it that many Ultralisks anymore. Instead, he's going to try and send it. Widowmine's over here on the ramp. Connect with one of the Overseers. Not really what you're hoping for. Planetary Fortress, though, over here is a nice anchor to fall back to. He's almost mazing and snaking this Zerg army around. Zerg, in the meantime, though, going for the counteroffensive as well in the base adjacent to this one. Oh, careful! Careful! Jeez, man. Absolute disaster there for ByuN, whose supply count just took a nosedive. ByuN invested into a ton of command centers, but what he really needs right now is money. He needs to be able to remax. Oh, no. That's the problem when you make so many command centers and you leave nothing in the bank. In theory, it's good, right? Like, in theory, it's a good idea to have command centers so you can, well, play the long game and you can actually run that type of unit composition for another 10 minutes. But if the command centers are paid for, but they haven't dropped mules yet, you run out of steam real quick. GG.